What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers vanquish the mighty Detroit Pistons tonight by a final score of 110-92, and we're here to celebrate this amazing victory. Eric, what's going on, man?
That's so loud.
What's loud?
Oh, those streamers that how dare Portland celebrate wins like they won the championship by doing streamers after every game.
I know, man. This is for that Raptors fan. And honestly, in my mind, we won the championship tonight. We beat the Detroit Pistons. So we're going to enjoy this one, man. We're back home for the month of December. So lots of streamers. And we've got man, they got to refill them every single game, man. I feel bad for whoever has to refill the streamer boxes.
10 times in a row.
10 times in a row. This is the Blazers' 10th straight home victories. So obviously, if you can't tell, I went to the game. I don't know if that's obvious to you guys. I went to the game, so that's why we're going live a little bit late here. We went live in about 30 minutes after the game, 35 minutes. That's a normal timetable. Eric watched it, so we'll have two different perspectives. It's two different perspectives. What was that word? Two different perspectives. It's always fun for me to go to the game and see it there in person and kind of look for some things that you wouldn't normally see on TV, and then having you watch it on TV, looking for things that maybe it would be hard to see sitting 100 level baseline with a stanchion in the way for like 20% of the court. So I'm looking forward to this post-game stream.
Bira said he saw you in the stands.
Did you? Apparently I was on TV, so I don't know if
nice.
It was people, I don't know if it was the normal broadcast or the people that watch the streams like League Pass or illegal streams where you can like see what the Jumbotron shows. I was on the Jumbotron behind these very Portland-esque people that were dancing, so that was cool.
Nice.
Aeromancer says he saw Jim Moran. I don't know who that is. Or I know who that is. I don't know why he'd be there. I don't know if that's a comparison for somebody, but anyway.
No, he's on the Detroit Pistons bench now.
Oh, is he? Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why would Jim Moran be there?
Yeah, he's an assistant coach for the...
Okay, good. That means he got a job after. He's not quite Terry Stotts. So somebody's triggered that I mentioned Terry Stotts' name. Anyway, this is going to be a fun stream. We're going to relax. We're going to chill. We're going to talk about this win. The Blazers come home. They get home games, and they get a couple low-tier opponents in a row. And we haven't really had that much this year. They get the Detroit Pistons, and up next they got the San Antonio Spurs. So this wraps up the month of November. It's November 30th. It's going to be December on our coast in about an hour and 43 minutes. So probably before this stream is done. I said they needed to go 12-10. That would be a 50-win pace if they went 12-10 after the month of October and November. They're 11-11, so they're pretty much right there with that. The Blazers, before today, had faced the 5th hardest schedule in the league and had the 29th hardest left, so the second easiest schedule in the entire league after today. So that starts with Detroit. That's up next with San Antonio. The Blazers get some winnable games, and in a game in which they were missing guys, Eric, I was kind of worried going into this one. Like, they're missing Dame, they're missing Norm, they're missing Nasir Little as well in this one. And early on, it seemed like this was going to be a pretty close game throughout the first quarter. The Pistons kept it close for about a quarter of the game, and I was worried this was going to be a game in which the Blazers had to claw their way out of it. In the end, I came away from this game saying Detroit freaking sucks. And this was a solid win for the Blazers to beat them the way they did without those key guys.
Yeah, so in my opinion, throw out that Detroit sucks. And it also, like, it's good to get a win without, Dame, Norm, and Nas. So you're missing 3 of your rotation players. So no matter who you're playing, that's good. But besides that, I freaking loved the way we played tonight. Our sets were beautiful. We were running tons of off-ball action. The passing was good. We got shots based on movement and good creative play designs. And that's what I love to see. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We've talked about this all season about we just need to play a certain way to win these games. So I like that we saw this tonight. We saw them, I lost track of like 4 or 5 just insanely good out of bounds setups that led to open shots. Now we missed Nurk missed a dunk out of one of them, and we didn't always convert all these open shots, but we had a lineup at the end of the second quarter or into the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. No Dame, obviously, and CJ and Ant weren't in the game. They didn't stagger their minutes. And it was like Dennis Smith Jr., Ben McLemore, Nance Zeller, and I forget who the third one, it might have been Snell or somebody. And we were getting offense, like open shots, even though like no one's really like a threat to shoot. I mean, McLemore is, I guess, but like he hasn't played in a while, so like no one really respects him. But like that unit, like not only were they getting stops on one end, but they were getting like good shots just based on good play designs, and I love to see that. That's something we've been begging for a long time.
Yeah, I think it got better throughout the game.
Yeah.
Because I came away the second half feeling that way. The first quarter or so, I didn't really feel that way. They got some quality looks, but it was a lot of kind of pass, and then one guy makes something happen, and it was mostly CJ. And by the end of the game, I felt like we had really made strides in terms of moving the ball, moving guys around a little bit, and especially inbounds plays, man. Chauncey has great inbounds plays, especially sidelines out of bounds. You get Dennis Smith Jr. a dunk, right? Mm-hmm. Just off of passing, throw it in, pass to the other guy. He hits Dennis Smith Jr. off a back screen. That type of stuff is what you got to do when you don't have the luxury of just being able to throw Damian Lillard the ball and have him create a bunch of stuff. And CJ has been in a bit of a slump the past couple of games, so he had some good moments tonight, but he came in struggling to shoot the ball a little bit there in the first quarter. So it was a situation where you couldn't necessarily rely on any one guy to carry your offense. You needed to start creating offense in other ways, and I felt like the Blazers progressed towards that throughout the game.
Yeah, and that's my other takeaway is, like, if we're talking about, CJ scored like 40 and just like went off, was shooting a ton. I mean, he did shoot a ton, but like if you would have told me that CJ didn't shoot particularly well, especially early on, and then like, where are we going to get our points from? Yeah, Ant could go off, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, because Simons didn't shoot well either.
Yeah, he missed his first 3, but then he made like 4 out of his next 5.
Yeah, finished 5 for 14.
Yeah, so if you would have told me those guys would both shoot relatively poorly, I know CJ made a bunch of shots in the second half, so it kind of evened out. But like, I don't know. It feels good to get this win, not having to rely on CJ to like take over the game and be Dame or whatever, and we it's just a really fun team victory. Like almost everyone who played contributed in some way, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah, I think the most impressive part of this game is the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
We end up only giving up 62 after 3 quarters. That was weird, man. I know Detroit's sitting here at 4-17, but you look at what their key guys shot, like quality NBA players. Jeremy Grant 4 for 14. That's one of everybody's trade targets for CJ McCollum. We gotta trade CJ for him. He looked bad tonight, and a lot of that was we defended him well. 4 for 14 for Jeremy Grant. 1 for 9 shooting for Sadiq Bey.
It was awful in this game.
Yep. Frank Jackson, 3 for 10. Trey Lyles, 2 for 8. Killian Hayes, 3 for 8. The only guy who did some damage was Cade. And Cade was quiet the first half. Cade got like all his buckets in the second half. I don't know what he had at halftime, but he was very quiet. And it's not a situation where like Cade was being able to create for others, though. He only finished with 1 assist in 33 minutes. So that's the thing, is against a team like this, you can play good defense even if a Cade Cunningham goes off, because he's not yet able to go off for 40 or 50 points and carry your team if the rest of your team doesn't show up. So you just got to play good all-around defense, shut guys like Jeremy Grant down, Sadiq Bey down. We did that tonight. Their starting forwards end up combining for 5 for 23 from the field.
And that's one of the things that people always say is like, how are we going to defend wings with length, right? And I thought we did a really good job on those two tonight, making them take tough shots, making them have to do things that were uncomfortable. And yeah, I really liked our game plan on those two in particular. And Cade only had like he was 4 for 4 at halftime, but he only has 4 shots. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, even if he's making every shot, if he's only shooting 4 times in a half, that's not really going to hurt you that much. And uh, the thing is, I mean, a lot of his points came when we got up like 20 some points in the second
Yeah.
half, and he tried to take over and shoot a bunch, which he was hitting. But like, I mean, the game was over pretty much at that time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. So, what were some other thoughts of yours on the game?
Um, I just it was just cool to see everyone come in and play well. Like I can think of moments from every player that played tonight, just like something they did really well that I was impressed with. At least, I mean, not counting that.
I was gonna say.
Blevins comes in, gets his first action of the season, touches the ball, and immediately travels the first time, like within a second of touching the ball. Uh, and then Ellaby airballs the three. Yeah, the garbage minutes were bad, I guess. So I meant like an actual game with the rotation players tonight. Yeah. Uh,
The non-garbage guys, all had great moments. I agree
yeah.
with that. Because even like if we're just gonna talk about the garbage guys, I mean, you didn't mention Greg Brown coming in and just having the worst looking free throws I've ever seen. I was sitting directly in line with him, and it looked horrible.
Yeah, yeah, they weren't good, but yeah.
That's the one negative tonight is the victory cigar guys were not celebratory with their play. They were awful. That was funny. But other than that, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, Macklemore was really good in this game outside of, uh, he thought CJ was going to come up top on an inbounds pass, and CJ went to the corner, and he still threw the pass to a Piston. That was really bad, but other than that, I was actually impressed with some of his off-ball defense positioning. He had a few deflections tonight. Snell hit a couple threes. And credit to him for some of that defense on Sadiq Bey. And yeah, I just thought almost everyone had a really nice, at least, moment in this game. And once again, I still find myself wanting us to play through Nurk more. Nurk, when he gets the ball, was pretty much unstoppable in this game.
Dude.
I don't think we did it enough, but he was. I mean, Isaiah Stewart is not easy to move out of the way, and he just completely like backed him down and like just easily scored on him a few times tonight.
Yeah, dude, it looks different seeing it in person, like being close to the court, right?
Right.
Television does not do it justice when Nurkic is backing a guy down. Oh my goodness. The dude looks like a freaking beast when he backs players down. Like, people don't realize how physical that Nurkic's post play is, right?
Yeah.
We talk about him being soft and all this type of stuff, but he has Isaiah Stewart on him, and he looks like he's barely putting any shoulder into him, and he's just moving Isaiah Stewart like 3 feet back every time he takes a dribble. Like, that was insane to be there in person. That's why I said to Connor when I went to the game with, I was like, TV doesn't do this justice. So if you guys ever get to go to a game and maybe see it for yourself, you will have a different appreciation for Nurkic's physicality in the post, because he was like he's not going weak to the rim anymore. He kind of had some issues at the start of the season, the first couple games, and people were freaking out, and then he started to fix them, and people were still saying he sucked at finishing, wasn't finishing strong enough, all this type of stuff, even though he was improving and doing a solid job of that. Now every time he gets the ball, he's going strong, Eric. What happened to all the flip shots, like rushed shots, all that type of stuff? He's taking his time. He's going strong. He's getting to the line. The way he's played the last 4 games has been like a fringe all-star caliber center, in my opinion. Because he's been doing it on both sides of the ball, and he's been playing the right style, man. He's been phenomenal, and it was nice to see him have some good moments tonight. I think he could have had a 30-point game if we just fed him the rock, because he has been good in the post the past few games. He's had it rolling, so I would have liked to have seen us utilize him a little bit more, but he does finish with 5 assists. That's nice to see. How many points did he finish with? 15? Let me see here. 13 points, 5 for 8 shooting. You'll take that.
And then one time he tried to like throw down a power dunk, he missed it.
Did that get blocked?
I don't think so. I think he just missed it. It got contested. I don't think it got blocked though.
But that was a great inbounds play.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm, that was a great inbounds play. Rocco running to the ball, catches the pass, immediately dumps it off for Nurkic. Good pass. And Nurkic misses the dunk. But, like, see, that's the thing is, I'll live with that. Nurkic going strong, a great play design, gets us a great look. Nurkic just misses the dunk. Like, you want him to make the dunk, but more times than not, that's going to be an automatic 2. So, despite him missing that, I love that play.
So I timed out Alex Wolf just as a joke, kind of, because Alex is my guy, but he's just kind of annoying. Last few streams, he's just like, "Oh, these guys never say anything bad about Nurkic or whatever," and yeah. So and Michael Keefe is agreeing with him, but this is the deal. Like, people are, I don't know. In my opinion, Nurk is becoming the Aaron Gordon of the past to me, where I can tell your basketball IQ by whether you think Nurk is good or not.
Yeah.
And so if you think Nurk is trash on defense, like I see that all the time on Twitter, I just immediately discredit anything you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, people need to go to a game, sit close, and watch him. Like, don't watch the ball, watch him on defense. Because if you watch the ball, you're not going to notice the things he does defensively. He's played great the last 4 games. Like, why would I have complaints after what he's done the last 4 games? Just go and look at his stat line. And he's been getting it done defensively, too. He's been in my opinion, on the road trip, our defense sucked, but he was our best defender. Right? Our defense didn't suck because of him. I mean, there were plays on this road trip where he would cover for 2 guys' mistakes and do a good job of it, and then a 3rd guy would make a mistake and teams would score, right? Like, Nurkic has been phenomenal, and we'll talk about him a little bit more once we get to his player card. I don't see why I don't see what bad there is to say about him unless we just make stuff up.
Well, Draymond Green had a quote that said exactly what I am talking about today. And let me find the exact quote real quick. I think it's on Trevin's page. But give me just a second.
Yeah, no rush.
Okay, so Draymond says defense never goes viral because half the people don't know what the heck they're looking at. It's easy to say this guy made a shot. We can all effing see that. So can my kids. But like, so what he means by that is like what we've been talking about all year is like, Frank Kaminsky scores or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, Nurk sucks. He gave up 31 to Frank Kaminsky. And then like people don't realize that that's not his fault necessarily. And we
were switching guards onto Kaminsky all game, but it's just the box score watchers, man. It's just the box score watchers. You gotta watch the game.
And then after our game against Golden State, Draymond also had a quote that like Nurkic is like the only person holding our defense together, and he was like really good on defense, and people don't realize that. But like their defense overall is better. It's just not translating quite yet. But so that's one of the best defenders in the league giving Nurkic that praise. So it's not just us. We're not just saying this because we're just making stuff up.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have even let the couple people say what they want to say, man. For whatever reason, like praising Nurkic upsets some people, and I don't understand that.
I timed out Alex as a joke. I even DM'd him before I did it to say I was good.
I mean, he's a Cavs fan. We can time him out whenever we want. But yeah, like Nurkic has been playing great in my opinion, and he changes his team. I just want to get Dame going. He kind of broke out of his slump, then had an iffy game or two, and then missed tonight's game, which I'm glad he missed tonight's game, especially after beating him by this amount. I think that was a good decision. It would just be nice to get Dame going and Nurk going at the same time, because when both those guys are on, this is a really hard team to guard, because a lot of the action involves Dame and Nurkic in the pick and roll, and you almost have to let Nurkic get his in order to stop Dame when Dame has it rolling, right? And when Nurkic is punishing teams for not paying enough attention to him when he's finishing strong, getting to the line, finishing around the rim, then, I mean, how do you stop a Dame Nurk pick and roll? The only option you have is to trap it. In previous years, when teams would trap it, we would have a floor setup that wasn't great, and teams could leave somebody who wasn't in a position to score to send a third guy towards the pick and roll to deal with Nurkic while two other guys trapped Dame. So they would kind of load up on things. This year, I think our floor setup when Dame has been trapped is a lot better. So it becomes a situation, if we can get both Dame and Nurkic going, and then we can set up the floor in a way where we can take advantage when teams trap Dame instead of not knowing what to do, then that action pretty much becomes unguardable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this is why I love to see the action when I was talking about earlier when Dame, CJ, Ant aren't in the game and we move the ball well and get good shots. Because that proves we did it with basically just average passers. There's no like elite passer in that group. There's no elite like shooter in that group. I mean, if you want to say Snell, but like it's not like he's high volume. But like so, average spacing, right? Average passing. Dennis Smith Jr. can break down a defense a little bit, but defenses don't respect his shots, so they sag off him. We're still getting any shot we wanted on the offense, and this is why we've been talking about this since the beginning of Blazers Uprise. Like, you don't have to run pick and roll or do all these things so much to the point, especially if it's not working or if Dame's having to make tough shots or all our shots are contested threes. Like, play him off ball more and get him open shots and let him rest a little bit more on offense. And then maybe we won't see the energy issues that we saw last night in the second half of Utah for Dame and CJ, because they're not having to break down a defense the whole game on the other end. And I'm just waiting for that to translate to our starting unit and our regular rotation guys, because if our other guys can do it, there's absolutely no reason why that our starting lineup can't run more sets like that and get open shots for people.
Yeah, and that's my hope, is that they continue to implement more. And Chauncey, in his post-game press conference yesterday, we didn't watch it on stream, but I watched it after, and he talked about how he might need to run more plays, especially on the road when their secondary transition stuff isn't getting them buckets. So it sounds like he wants them to push the pace and then kind of freelance and look for opportunities immediately after pushing the ball in transition, and just trying to exploit a defense that's not set on their own. But the Blazers aren't good enough at that yet. That's still a work in progress, which you look at Golden State. Golden State is the best team in the league at secondary transition. They'll push the pace, get you mismatched, get you kind of out of position, and then Steph will come flying off of two screens before you know it and have a wide open three, right? And then, since you're not set, since you're scrambling, you'll maybe overreact to Steph, and then boom, backdoor cut, wide open layup. It's Golden State does a great job of that, and I think we need to try and we're not going to get to Golden State's level because they've done a good job of it for years with a lot of pieces that they've had for years, but we need to become a team that does that well. The problem is we've made a lot of mistakes and aren't doing that well right now, so it's a situation where maybe we need to rein things in a little bit, still work on it, but rein things in to the point where we can take care of some road games as well as put in better sets. We run some good action. I still feel like there's some things that we could do more of, like a backdoor lob set for Ant or Nas, or I said this during the game. I was like, you know what? Out of a timeout, let's just sub in Greg Brown and run a lob play for him, right? Just something that the defense doesn't expect, because the defense probably isn't going to be paying any attention to a Greg Brown. Right? And then maybe you sub him out, a couple minutes after. Maybe if he plays a good defensive possession, you let him get a couple more minutes of run. I wouldn't mind that in a game like this against a weak team. It's just I would like to see stuff like that implemented a little bit more. Chauncey draws up good sets, in my opinion. You watch his out of bounds plays, and they're very solid. So I trust in his ability to do that. I'm just hopeful that we continue to see better half court sets.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'll say to that is I'm a little disappointed it took like 20 games to realize that, I wish that would have been like a priority from the beginning of the season. But
yeah, I think it should have been a priority.
Better late than never.
Yeah, because it's not a situation where you have to do one or the other. You can
Right.
emphasize trying to get buckets in secondary transition and trying to push the pace and make plays happen on your own at a freelance, but you can also give them a variety of sets to fall back on. Now, that's the thing with a team with a new coach. They have to relearn sets, right? If this was Terry Stotts, they'd know all the sets Terry Stotts are going to run, have no problem with that. With Chauncey implementing new stuff, and there's new terminology for stuff, a little different timing on certain things, there's going to be some growing pains. So now it's a situation where they're playing at home for the majority of this month. It's the perfect time to be able to get some practices in. They're not playing 6 back-to-backs like they were in November. They only have 1 this month. So you're going to have more practice time. And also at home, they take care of business at home. So you can experiment, I think, with some different things over the course of this month. And then when it gets a little bit road-heavy, mid-January and beyond that, then you have a very solid foundation to fall back on. And hopefully you're able to take care of road games instead of losing every single road game. So that's kind of my hope going forward from this.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's just the last couple games have been disheartening, knowing that we can't play like that and still like showing up, and then hearing afterwards, oh, the effort wasn't just there tonight, and we need to have some more urgency on the road. That's all the crap we heard last year and stuff. Like, oh, we just have to like play with more energy and want it more. The other team just came out more aggressive than us. Like that kind of stuff. I don't like hearing that stuff much throughout the season. I guess I have to like temper it because like I haven't really heard Billups say it that much. I mean, he has said it from time to time this season, but like I can't blame him for stuff that's happened prior to this year. I just wish we would have realized that we need some of this sooner in the season, and we might have a few more road wins because of it. But going forward, we have to play more like this on the road. And I think we can beat good teams if we have this kind of ball movement and this kind of creativity in our sets.
Yeah, I agree. Let me thank Donos. Or were you going to add something to that?
Well, I just want to say something about the Nurk thing again real quick. So Russ brought up a good point that I wanted to mention. He said he wants to see assertiveness for him, like calling for the ball. I don't know if you saw this, Tori, but the time he backed down Stewart and like spun and like had it laid it in easily, the next time down the court, he went to CJ and said, "Give me the effing ball," and like he was like calling for it in the post, and they went to him several plays in a row after that. I think the next play was they immediately double teamed him, and he didn't even catch the ball. He tipped it right back out, and I think we swung the ball and got an open 3. And then I think the third time he got the ball and got fouled, if I'm not mistaken, got to the free throw line. So he was being assertive tonight. So yeah, you can say you want him to be that all you want, but if we're not running. If he's supposed to come out and run like a pick and roll, he can't just run to the post and demand the ball like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony would do that, but not Nurkic.
Yeah. And I mean, like if he was maybe prime Dirk with the Mavs, he could just run to the high post and just give me the ball, and everybody listens to him, right? Because that was Dirk Nowitzki. But it's harder for a guy like him. That's why you have to try and run some things for him, and that's a point I've made on previous streams. So here's the thing with Nurk: he makes the right decision in the post, in my opinion. And sometimes he might force a pass and whatnot, but he sees double teams before they're there. A lot of big men kind of get stuck and don't see a double team coming and then turn the ball over. A perfect example of that would be Jeremy Grant. I forget who was posting up, but Cody Zeller held baseline and Jeremy Grant turned right into him and then jumped past and threw it down the court for
a Brant's breakdown play for tonight.
Is it? Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
I have 7 pictures from that play, dude. That was a tremendous defensive possession. Yep.
Yeah, that was a great defensive possession. I'm glad you include that one. So it's just a situation where, like, Nurkic knows when to pass out. The problem is in previous years, Eric, is just he hasn't finished at the level that you'd want him to out of the post. He shot like 51-52% from 2, but correct me if I'm wrong. If I recall correctly, he's shot worse than that out of the post in previous years. Right now, he looks almost automatic out of the post. And he might miss one here or there, but like if he can shoot 60% out of the post, then teams might double him and he'll make the right pass. And then on top of that, something that we haven't done that we can do is run off-ball action when he has the ball in the post to give him maybe some playmaking options.
Another Brandt's breakdown to the first play tonight was very beautiful, and we'll get to that later as well. But
I'm
yeah,
about ready to. After I think the donos, I'm ready to get into Brandt's breakdown since we're
Great
saying
Hughes
all the same
and Bill
stuff.
Swoosh, thank you for the donations. Let's get to those now.
Yeah. Shout out Greg Hughes, investigates $10 dono. He says, other than CJ, the ball movement and defense was awesome. Nurkic is starting to come around and his attitude is getting better. He should get the ball more, feed him down low. I 100% agree, Greg Hughes. And Nurkic picked up that technical early in this game. I thought it was a weak tech. I thought it was a pretty weak tech.
Well,
if he picks up a tech for that, I don't mind that if he, has an attitude that's not, taking his head out of the game. If it's, a aggressive sort of, I don't know how to explain it. If it's him going strong and getting fouled and still finishing and he's mad because he got fouled and he's angry, that can be used productively, right? The problem is when he, gets so caught up on something that he loses focus with the game. I don't think that tech was a situation like that. So I don't mind that. And I don't mind that tech. And I thought it was a bad tech, and they missed the technical free throw. Jeremy Grant missed the free throw. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the techs where, the ball's going the other way and you're turned towards the ref, waving your hands. There's no need to do that. But I see your point, too. But
Steph Curry can tee up a ref and not get a
right,
tee. So
I know that was ridiculous. Another thing about Nurk's finishing, a good portion of his misses, he's grabbing the ball and putting it back in too. So it might look like he missed 5 shots or whatever, but 2 or 3 of those he got back and put it in. So it's not like he's just missing them and then we're getting no points out of a possession. It's some of his misses are matter. Yeah.
So that's why I like to look at with Nurkic is his offensive rebounds versus missed shots, right? Because if you get an offensive rebound, it erases a missed shot.
Yeah.
You look at things tonight, he misses 3 shots, he had 4 offensive rebounds. It's all if he can get more offensive rebounds than missed shots, that's a victory. Now, you don't want it to be a situation where he's, only missing 1 shot because he only shoots twice and then he gets some offensive rebounds. But for the most part, if he's shooting at least 8, 9, 10 times a game and he's getting more offensive rebounds than missed shots, that's good. That's good.
What did you think of CJ, ISOing and stuff tonight?
I mean, it's a situation where he's the only one who you can really count on to create shots out of situations that get stagnant. So it just becomes a situation where is the offense stagnant and CJ's trying to create something out of it, or is CJ making the offense stagnant because he's ISOing, right? And sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. And that's the thing is people will see CJ ISO and be like, oh, he's making us stagnant. He's slowing down the ball movement. He's ISOing too much, all this type of stuff. But I felt like on a number of possessions where he kind of started ISOing and attacking, we weren't really in anything anyway. And we weren't really, I don't know, it was already kind of a stagnant possession. So in a situation, especially without Dame in this game and without Norm in this game, I didn't mind the way CJ played tonight. I thought he got good shots pretty much all game long. I can't remember, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't remember him forcing a shot where it's CJ, that was a dumb shot. So...
Yeah, I mean, he has a couple of those every game, but... Yeah,
but this game, usually he does have a couple of those. This game, I can't remember one. I don't know if there's one that I'm blanking out on, but he shot 26 times. I thought he got 26 solid shots up. And you live with that, especially from a scorer of his caliber. He also ends up with 6 assists and only 1 turnover. I'm fine with that from CJ.
See, I think this is my problem with everything and why I want to run sets with CJ. It's because, if we're running a set and it's designed, in Brandt's breakdown, I'll break down the first play of the game. CJ could have easily shot a floater or a little 3-foot runner off a nice pass from Nurkic. But the play was designed, I think, to get a corner three out of it if he wasn't wide open. So he makes the pass. So almost all the times CJ goes ISO, yeah, we could. I mean, it looks bad when he takes shots sometimes, but at the same time, I don't see him just like we have a play set up and he just ignores the play and goes after someone, right? And that would be, I would kill him for that whenever he does that. He does do it occasionally, I guess, but for the most part tonight, we were running sets. When he was in the game, when we ran a set, he was part of those and was running whatever his part of that action was. And for the most part, when he wasn't in the game, we were running nice sets that we weren't really running a lot of when he was in the game. So I can't necessarily blame him for running pick and roll and not passing much sometimes when that's kind of our offense when he's in the game is pick and roll and ISO and stuff like that. But I don't want to be like that. And that's why I want them to run a more structured offense all the time instead of just part of the time. And there's always times at the end of shot clock where you can break your guy down one-on-one and go at him, but I don't think that has to be our number one priority on offense at any point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I people will say like they wish he passed in situations where he doesn't have a passing window, right? There was a couple of plays that he had tonight where he was looking to dump it off to Nurkic or Larry Nance Jr. or a big man, and he didn't, and he ends up shooting a little push shot. And I was thinking, there's probably people who are watching this on TV that are mad that he didn't make that pass, but it didn't look like he had a passing window, right? Because when people watch on TV, they'll see, oh, CJ has the ball, and oh, Nurkic is wide open. He just passed Nurkic the ball. But if you're down on the court, and if you play basketball, you'll know this, just because Nurkic is open doesn't mean you can't get him the ball. If there are two defenders right in between you and Nurkic, and they're close enough to you where, it might not be easy to throw a lob, or, it's a situation where a lob isn't the right pass. Like, there's situations where you can't just pass the ball to an open guy. But people on TV, they just see, oh, this player's open, and CJ should have passed him the ball. But that's not necessarily always the case. So that's the thing that you have to try and watch for when you're watching a guy like CJ is, was it a situation where he could have gotten the open guy the ball? If it is, then sure, yeah, he should have passed it off, dumped it off. But if he can't, then I can't get too mad at him for that, especially if it's a situation where maybe he doesn't make the pass and then he gets off a solid shot, maybe a 5-foot floater or whatever. Like, I'm okay with that. So that's my thoughts on CJ for the most part. Shout out Mills Woj, $10 dono. He says people say he's not good at D because he's not flashy. We're talking about Nurkic here, I think. Mills Woj says people say Nurkic is not good at D because he's not flashy. Him rotating perfectly and covering pick and roll isn't the same as blocking a shot against the basket. And here's the thing: a lot of blocked shots go out of bounds or get followed up by the offensive team. And if you're a guy that tries to block a bunch of shots, you'll end up fouling more. Blocked shots is an overrated stat. We had Hassan Whiteside who blocked a ton of shots, but he wasn't better than Nurkic. And then when Nurkic came back and played, people realized like, oh wow, our defense is better with Nurkic in the game. He doesn't try and jump at everything. He doesn't try and block everything. But I feel like people have forgotten what it was like with Hassan Whiteside. And, we haven't had him for a year and a half now, and people have forgotten what they kind of learned from him from comparing Nurkic and Whiteside when they played together for the bubble. So I 100% agree with that. The blocked shots are the most notable thing. People notice that, and they won't notice, if he's positioned well or if he does little things well on defense, and that goes straight back to the Draymond quote. So people underrate Nurkic defensively because he's not like a super high tier shot blocker. He's more of a big man that is in the right position more often than not, can cut off drives, rotates well, that sort of thing. The nuances, the little things he does well. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, I mean, how often is Nurk even around the rim anymore? So that's why drop scheme, teams that run it a lot, that tends to lead to the big being in the paint and always around the rim. And yeah, that could lead to blocks, but like you said, that doesn't always lead to a change of possession. So
I just think he's not really worried about blocks because he's not in a position to have to block shots a lot. And I mean, we give up a lot of threes and stuff like that anyway. So um, yeah, it's just a case of he's playing out a lot more on pick and rolls, and I think it's working initially. Now our defense is having breakdowns outside of that, but it's getting better, and I think I just think he's been like, I mean, maybe not elite, but close to elite on defense this year. I don't think you can ask much more of him than what he's doing for this team.
Yep, agree. Shout Mills Woj with another dono. This one's a $2 dono. He says, love Nurk, and I'm happy to not see all the Nurk slander in chat. It's enjoyable to see people praising Nurkic for what he does well, because there's obviously a lot of Nurkic slander earlier this season. So anyway, I appreciate Mills Woj and Gray Hughes for supporting the channel with their donos.
I mean, the bottom line for me is, this is why we talk so much about the Nurk situation. The better he is, the better this team's ceiling is. And the more we utilize his strengths, the better this team is. And it's just frustrating the games like people say, oh, he disappeared or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, because he knows when we lose games, this is the same thing that happened all last year, right? We'd lose games and he'd come on and say, we need to be more aggressive. I sat out and watched this happen for 25 games where we were not being aggressive enough on defense. And when I come back, we need to be more aggressive. And then Stotts doesn't let him be aggressive, says he's going rogue when he does, you know? And that's got to be frustrating to know, like, you can make a difference in your team winning or losing and not getting that chance. And you can say that's whiny or whatever, but I would be frustrated too if you played through me and I could help our team win, but we're just not even like trying to do that, and we're taking bad shots, and you watch your guards go ISO heavy and pick and roll heavy, and because you're setting pick and roll screens the whole time, you're like never in position to get offensive rebounds, because that's another thing. Nurk hasn't been the best offensive rebounder the last few years, and it's because he's never been inside. And now all of a sudden, the last few games, he's been down in the block a lot more. And then all of a sudden, he's in position to get some of these offensive rebounds. Like into the first half last night, he had like 4 or 5 possessions in a row where he just got saved a possession for us with his hustle underneath the basket. So that's another thing, a reason why I don't like running pick and roll so much or going ISO heavy, is because like our big man, when Nurkic is in the game, isn't as close to the basket as he should be for those offensive rebounds. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan of playing inside-out basketball. I'm not saying, I know I'm going to have the one guy who is at Arwin or whatever who always says, whenever I say that, oh, that's so dumb, you'd take a 2-pointer over a 3-pointer. That's just stupid basketball, right? But
it's math and probabilities. I would rather have a 60% chance at a 2, right, than a 35% chance at a 3.
Honestly, though, running sets out of the, like when your big has the ball in the post and running off-ball action, that's like some of the toughest to stop, because if you have a cutter down the middle, as we'll see in Brandt's breakdown, the defense has to collapse on him. And Nurk can throw that pass anywhere on the court from the post. He can throw to the far corner. He can throw to the near corner. He can throw up to the top. He can throw to a cutter down the middle. And I just think we could run so many more things out of that and just completely open up our offense to where we could get good shots almost every possession if we did that.
Yep, I agree. Let's look at 2 tweets of the game. 2 people that know how to appreciate Nurkic. I don't know why that background is down there. Let me try and... What was that? What's that? We just need a... I don't know. This is glitchy, so screw the background. But shout out to Nestro. Nestro gets it. He says, really felt like Nurk was working... Nesto, yeah. Nesto. Really felt like Nurkic was working the hardest tonight and deserved to be awarded with more touches on offense. # Blazers Uprise. Absolutely agree with that one. I like people that praise Nurkic, because I feel like they get it. You know what I mean? Like, he was working hard tonight. easy thing to sit there and slander him because that's what it seems like a lot of people do for whatever reason. So shout out to Nesto, and then shout out to Alan Garcia. He says, Nurk is playing amazing tonight. Now imagine how he would play if we ran more sets for him. Hashtag Blazers Uprise. There wasn't, I haven't done tweets of the game the past couple of times, so there wasn't many Blazers Uprise tweets. These were two of them, though. Two of them, I think there might have only been two, and these were the two. It was people praising Nurkic, so you love to see it.
Yep, and if you want to be featured on this and have your Twitter account shown on the screen, use hashtag Blazers Uprise during the game, and maybe in a future episode you can have your tweet on there.
Yeah, free Twitter advertisement for your account. That seems like a great deal to me. Shout out Near 012 for a $5 dono. He says, just thinking that with Nurk and Ant playing this well, I would love to have Dame on a minute restriction during this home stretch, and I would only put him on a minute restriction if it would help him. If it would help him, sure. If it wouldn't help him, there's not much of a point. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, because he's still better than Anthony Simons. And Anthony Simons had three good halves and then kind of struggled again tonight. So I'm not quite there with Ant. He's still hit or miss right now. When he has it going, he's really good. Offensively, when he doesn't, tonight, he was kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was that bad. He just missed some shots, but
couple. He had a little trouble bringing the ball to the court. That was kind of what stood out to me.
He had Cade on him a lot, and Cade's really lengthy. Obviously, he's so he kind of struggled with that. But that's kind of I think that was good to have that happen to him in this game. We end up winning in a blowout, and now you can look back and work on some things that you struggled with when you have to become more of a primary ball handler.
Yep, agree. Let's head into Brant's breakdowns. What do we have for play number 1, Eric?
So play number 1 is the first play of the game. So we get the jump ball. We feed the post to Nurkic. So as you can see right here, we have Nurkic in the post with no help. So Nurk can he could post up here and go and score the ball. We've seen this now. I think this is the 4th game in a row we've run a play for Nurkic specifically, first play of the game, which I love. And so normally we just let Nurk do his thing here, but this was a designed play for Nurk to pass. And I love those as well. So as we go to the next slide, Rocco's going to set a pick for CJ McCollum, a back screen. And CJ now has 2 options. He can either flare out to the top of the key, and Nurk can throw it out to him for a 3. If Killian Hayes rotates over, then CJ can skip past it, and we can get an open 3 either from Ant, or if Ant gets run out on, he can kick it to the corner for Snell for a 3.
Yeah, just a basic swing situation there.
But I think this was a design cut on this particular one. So CJ notices that the middle of the key, there is no one there. And as we go to the next slide, CJ decides to quickly go down the middle of the key. And in this picture, CJ turns and is going down the key, and Nurk has already thrown the pass. And CJ has just, like, it was only a second before this that CJ turned towards the middle of the key. So Nurk already knows, and this is how you know Nurk is a good passer. He already knows it's going to be open and has already thrown the pass to him. And I really like this action. Get Nurk a cutter when he has the ball in the post. And you can see now, so Cade is getting screened by Rocco. And other than that, all 4 players are in the paint now. So all 4 of the defenders have a foot at least in the paint. And there's 2 players standing. We got Snell on the top here in the corner and Simons off to the side of your screen, who are wide open once CJ catches this ball on the next slide. And CJ normally would, like we were talking about earlier, he would shoot this in most cases, but I think this was a designed kick out as well. So he can just easily read where Killian Hayes is. Killian plays on the top of him, so he just has a nice, easy kick out to Snell. Now, Snell misses this shot, but like we talked about before, coming at an angle where you're passing to a shooter who's facing the basket and catching the ball facing the basket is always the easiest place to shoot out of. And then also getting an open corner three is really good. So I really like this play design. If Snell gets ran out on by Killian Hayes, he can just skip it to Ant up top, and Ant would have an open three. And I love having that cutting action, especially if it's Dame or CJ, because they attract so much attention. Look at this. All five guys are looking at CJ, and they've completely lost track of two guys on this play. And that's just how one cut can make a difference and completely rattle a defense. And that's what happens to us on the defensive end a lot. And I like to use that more against teams as well.
And I would like to have this play with maybe more of an athletic guy in CJ's situation too, right? Like, especially if you sub in Nas first, Nas early, and Dame and CJ are still in the game, have Nas be in CJ's position here as that cutter coming off that screen going downhill. And then the two shooters on that side of the court where Snell and Simons are, have that be Dame and CJ, right? Are players going to leave Dame or CJ for a wide open three to stop Nasir Little cutting to the rim? You have to think about it, because if there's no help here, this would be a dunk for those guys. For Nas, or maybe even Larry Nance Jr., if we could get more Larry Nance Jr. and Yusuf Nurkic minutes together. So that would be a play design that I would like to see. You rotate different guys here. And like Norm in this position, I think would be really good as well, because he can go downhill and finish. So this is a very basic set, but it's hard to guard. It's not an easy play to guard, and it's quick hitting too, so you can play out of it if the first option isn't there, which is whoever's that rim cutter. You know, if Nurkic doesn't make that pass, he can try and score out of the post, or he can kick out and you can try and run something beyond that.
And just even if CJ isn't open here on the pass, Nurk would notice that, and he could have made this pass to the corner without, like, let's say Sadiq comes all the way in to take away that drive. Nurk could have just swung that pass. It's something that Jokic does all the time. He's set up on one side of the court and throws a pass across to an open shooter on the other side. And there's just so many options you can do out of it, and it's so simple. I just don't understand why it doesn't happen more.
Yep, agree. Play number 2. What do you got, Eric?
So this is probably one of our best defensive possessions of the season. So Pistons are going to set up in a Horns set. They're going to pass, and Joseph's going to cut down the middle, and then he's going to go to the top corner and set a back screen on Larry Nance for Jeremy Grant. If you run the slides. Okay. So on this particular play, I noticed it first because Dennis Smith Jr. does an amazing job on this. So Corey Joseph is about to set a back screen. As you see the next slide, Dennis Smith Jr. is in position to cut off. So Diallo's first option is to see if Jeremy Grant's going to be open on this action. Dennis Smith Jr. hangs out, puts a hand up, takes off a passing lane to him, and Nance recovers in time. But the impressive part here is, so while he's doing that, Corey Joseph's going to go up top, and Trey Lyles is supposed to set a down screen for him, but there's no one there. And by the time the next slide comes and Corey Joseph is catching the ball, not only did Dennis Smith Jr. cut off Jeremy Grant, but he's also back and standing right in front of his guy. Yep. And that's just amazing awareness, good rotation, good closeout, all that kind of stuff. And this is just beautiful. Like, you take away, so you took away a cutter and you're back so your guy doesn't get an open three. And that's all happens in just a couple of seconds. But that's not where this play ends. So Corey Joseph doesn't have a shot. They swing the ball back around to the corner, where Jeremy Grant will eventually end up with the ball. And he has Ben McLemore on him. And he's going to back him down. And as you can see real quick right here, so the Blazers are, we're talking about, I think there's like 8 seconds left in the shot clock right here. So we're talking about a possession that's already lasted 16 seconds. The Blazers are all still perfectly lined up on defense. And you got Nance there to help, 1 foot in the paint, 1 foot out. If as his guy goes through, he might have to vacate, which he does. And then as you go to the next slide, Jeremy Grant.
I think we got to do it as a still image, unfortunately, for the next slide. I'm gonna have you start uploading these as two separate folders, because apparently there's a quota on the amount of plays I can put in a slideshow. So
Sorry.
What's the next picture name? No, it's fine. I don't know why that's a thing, because
It
with
would
other things
be,
it's fine.
I think it would be F.
All right, F. Let's try play 2F.
Aeromancer, shut up, man.
All right, so yeah, he backing down Macklemore, and this was the play I talked about earlier.
Yeah. So he goes to post up. Zeller, you still have all your guys covered, and the Pistons actually have 2 guys kind of standing close to each other, so Dennis Smith is able to guard both of them. But Jeremy Grant's obviously looking to score. He doesn't like to pass. Zeller recognizes that. Macklemore plays the high side. Zeller comes, double teams from the low side. And as you go to the last picture, which is G, if you have it.
Got it.
So Zeller with a great box or a great double team, and not only because he was in the right spot, but it was aggressive. So he's up right in there, so Grant turns right into him. It's not, he didn't give him any space. Like, Grant has nowhere to go right here. And the other thing is, once again, he has nowhere to pass to because the other 3 players are in the way. And even if someone was open in this play, he can't get him the ball because Macklemore and Zeller are in his face. He has no angles. He has nowhere to see. And this is why an aggressive screen is so important, is because it does take away that. And he ends up trying to throw a cross-court pass and airmails it out of bounds. And it probably would have been a shot clock violation, even if he did find someone. So that was just great defense for a full 24 seconds, a perfect double team, all that kind of stuff. Just really good action.
Yep, agree. All right, so play number 3.
Play number 3. Oh, man. Big man's dream right here, the high-low. So CJ gets a pick, attracts 2 guys like he normally does. Mm-hmm. Nance cuts baseline. Nurk is probably the only player on the team that'll make this pass, and he adds a little flair with the no-look. So all CJ has to do at this point, he could try to lob it to Nance, but Isaiah Stewart's kind of playing both ways. So the correct play is just to give it to Nurk and let Nurk make this pass. You've got to do it quickly, which he does. So he throws to Nurk in the high post. Nurk throws an immediate no-look bounce pass to Nance, who's cutting down the lane, and end up with the third slide, which is a Nance dunk because of a Nurk pass and a great cut. And this is why I want Nurk and Nance to play together. I feel like Nance has a knack for being around the rim on that baseline, and Nurkic would have a knack for finding him in these positions. And let them develop some chemistry. Let them develop this high-low 2-man game. And I feel like that kind of connection would be really good moving forward if they can develop that. Because Nance is better than a lot of players that Nurk has ever played with at the power forward position in terms of, finishing around the rim and making good cuts and stuff like that. So Nurk hasn't really had a lot of those guys in recent years. So I really want to exploit this. And this is something, too, I'd love for Nance or for Nas to kind of take this approach, too, and kind of be known as a guy who runs around on the baseline and is always available for little dump passes for dunks. But yes, I love seeing this action here. And it's a great example of when, the 2 plays I showed on offense are examples of how much attention CJ can draw. And how, if he learns how to pass that, he doesn't get an assist here, but the fact that he made the right play and gave it to Nurkic there led to this. And I just want to see those 2 play more together, and I love that they got a lot of minutes together tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And something that might seem obvious on this play, but probably goes overlooked, is Nance stops here, right? Nance stops. Because this is where the passing window is.
Yep.
A lot of players might run to the rim directly behind Isaiah Stewart, and then Nurkic can no longer make this pass, right?
Yeah.
And Nance, timing-wise, if he kept running, this pass wouldn't have connected, right? He had to stop. And so he stops at the perfect spot, right? Close enough to the rim to be able to just go up and dunk it, but also in a position where Nurkic can deliver him the ball. And this is where chemistry comes into play. Like, Nurkic has to trust, especially if he's doing a no-look pass, that Larry Nance Jr. is not going to overrun this. Larry Nance Jr. is going to stop at the right spot and be ready for this pass. So Nance also kind of... I don't know. To me, in person, it looked like he stepped into Cade Cunningham, too. Because that's the one dangerous thing. If you stop early, is Cade Cunningham might be able to run through this pass. But if you step upwards in Cade Cunningham's way and keep him on your back, then this pass can get through. So that's just a couple of nuances with cutting that I noticed on this play that I liked. And that's why Larry Nance Jr. is a good cutter.
Yeah, and are you under the basket here?
Yes. Why?
I was just wondering. We probably see you in this picture, huh?
Where am I? Where am I? Yeah, I am. I am. It's. Let's see. We gotta like blow this up real big. But you see the. Here we go. You see the stripes there?
Oh yeah.
You see the stripes there? Yep. That's what's up. What's up? I'm famous. I've been on a Blazers Uprise stream. Cool. Anyway, yeah. Apparently I was on TV. Play-by-play just said he found it. So that's cool, I guess. I would be a lot more excited if I was a kid. I used to geek out about that type of stuff. I wanted to be on TV so bad, and now it's like, cool. Too cool for TV, man. That's why I do YouTube.
I didn't get it on Brandt's breakdown, but there was one other pass Nurk made where he had the ball kind of halfway in between the free throw line and the block. And he kind of motions to CJ up top. And CJ starts going around the perimeter towards the corner three. And Nurk throws a pass and like passes him open into an open three. And I thought Nurk's passing was really good tonight.
Yep, agreed. 5 assists for the big man. All right, let's look at the team stats. So I wanted to bring up Utah's team stats first, right? Because this is how road games go. Obviously, Utah's a lot better than Detroit. It's just I want to compare and contrast this since I haven't seen percentages for Detroit or anything, and I thought this would be interesting. So 53 to 38%. 15% decrease. We hold them to 26% from 3. We do send them to the line a lot. This could have been an even better defensive game if we didn't foul so much. 22 fouls. They got 30 free throws. So if you're forcing a team to miss some shots, you don't want to be sending them to the line that much. But here's the thing. If you're playing aggressive defense and it's holding them to 38% from the field and 26% from 3, and a byproduct of that is that you send them to the line 30 times, I think you'd take that. Because despite going to the line 30 times, they only have 92 points. So sometimes you'll willingly, foul a bit more because the aggressiveness, when you don't foul, will end up with a good enough defense to offset it, so to say.
Yep. I just came up with nuance, and so I didn't hear that last part. Sorry.
I don't know. Well, you don't have to say anything about it. I made my point. Offensive rebounds, 10 offensive for Portland, 7 for Detroit. Assists, 24 to 17 in our favor. Would have never seen that last year, even against a Detroit team. 24 assists on 41 shots. That's pretty solid. Only 11 turnovers for us. We forced 19. And so that's the thing is, sure, you played aggressively and sent them to the line a bunch, but they didn't make shots from the field, and they turned over the ball a lot, so you'll take that.
Yeah. I think we had 9 turnovers in the second half, so a little too many, but we blew them out. A lot of those were garbage ones. So,
and I mean, one of those was a Kelvin Bledgen's good old travel. First time he touched the ball all season. He didn't even get to take a dribble, Eric. He traveled before he even had a chance to take a dribble. That's funny. I wanted him to score so bad. That would have been the loudest I reacted all game long, not even kidding. But yeah, 11 turnovers, you'll absolutely take that, especially when you get 24 assists. If you can get more than twice as many assists as turnovers, that's a good night.
Yeah.
in terms of taking care of the ball as well as, passing teammates open and getting good ball movement. So 24-11 is good. Fast break 11-9. Not a fast break game by any means. Points in the paint pretty even. Nothing really else stands out to me here.
Yeah, I mean, kind of expected that. Our shooting wasn't great, especially in the first half. But again, outside of CJ, maybe I felt like we were getting pretty good shots throughout the offense, and yeah.
Yep. So those are the team stats. Let's jump into the player cards, starting with CJ McNuggets McCollum. He had the 100th point. How many people actually redeem this free 6-piece McNugget when the Blazers hit 100 points? Does anybody in chat actually consistently redeem it? Because I don't. I missed the chalupa, getting a coupon in a chalupa, and you could just go through a Taco Bell drive-through and just hand them a chalupa card, and it was that simple. Now you got log into the whole app and everything, and it's all this extra stuff. So I'd take a chalupa over a 6-piece McNugget. Let me do a chat poll for that. What were your thoughts on CJ? I mean, we talked a lot about CJ. We talked a lot about a lot of players. So
can I answer the most important question first?
Oh yeah, I don't want to. I'll give you the chance.
I do it occasionally, but on their app they also have it's like buy an extra value meal, get a Happy Meal free, and since I have kids, that's a much better deal than getting a free 6-piece McNugget. So I always do that usually when I go, but occasionally if I'm by myself, I'll just throw that on there or whatever.
Yeah, I do miss the chalupa's a better deal in my opinion. A lot more bang for your imaginary bucks since you're not actually spending any money on it. We talked a lot about CJ. We talked a lot about a lot of players, so just, I guess, say anything that you maybe haven't said about these guys as we go through them.
I mean, he was off in the first half. He did force a few. He was just trying to get going, I think. Overall, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to get too mad at him this game. Did some good things. Honestly, I think defensively, this was one of his better games of the season as well. Didn't really have a whole lot of mistakes on that end. Not that you really should against a team like Detroit, who's playing terrible, but overall, he did a pretty good job.
I noticed Chauncey got on him after a defensive possession. The ball went out of bounds. I think it was a baseline inbounds, and then Nurkic drew the charge, and Chauncey was getting on CJ. And honestly, CJ's body language, I wasn't super happy with in response to it. It seemed like he was a little bit dismissive, but of course it's hard to tell unless you hear it. So I don't know. I noticed that, and I don't think that was on TV, so that was one of the things that I noticed during the game. But overall, defensively, he was definitely fine tonight, in my opinion, as well.
That's one of the cool things about going is you can notice that a lot more. I like that part of it going to games.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on and talk about Benny Buckets McLemore. We haven't had a Ben McLemore slide, I think, all season long, and we get
and he gets
tonight.
number 2.
And he gets number 2. Benny Buckets, 17 points in 18 minutes, 4 for 9 from 3. They weren't guarding him, Eric. And when they did guard him, they would foul him on a 3. I don't know. He got a lot of open threes tonight. I was surprised at how they just left him on a lot of possessions. And was nice. It was a good night for him. 4 for 9 from the 3-point line.
This is the other frustrating. I mean, it was good tonight, but the frustrating part is we had so many plays tonight where he was coming off ball screens, and either he was open or, for example, the Dennis Smith Jr. out of bounds play where he got the dunk. It was because both guys went with McLemore and no one went with Dennis Smith Jr. as he rolled to the basket. And if McLemore can do this, if I'm watching McLemore either get open threes or completely mess up the defense to where they're flying around trying to make sure he doesn't get an open three and that leaves someone else wide open around the rim, I don't understand why our normal offense with Dame and CJ and Norm and Rocco, and I don't know why they can't do more of that. And that's hopefully the coaching staff is seeing this and being like, man, It's not necessarily, oh, we need Macklemore to do this kind of stuff, because that's not true at all. It's, man, imagine if this is a Dame like getting these kind of shots, and if not, all the attention he is attracting, getting open shots for other people.
Yep, agree with that. Just nice for him to like. We needed him and a guy we'll talk about later to be able to knock down some shots in this game with the guys who are missing. So it was nice to see him perform in his first real opportunity for minutes this season.
Yeah, and he only played 5 minutes in the first half, had 8 points, and it was kind of at a time where I think it was 21-21 or 20-20 for like a couple possessions, and he comes in, hits a three, and then gets fouled on that one you're talking about, hits all 3 free throws, and all of a sudden we're up 6, and we kind of kept it around there or more the rest of the half, and then into the second half when we blew it up. And so nice to see him come in and make some buckets, and like I mentioned earlier, he also impressed me on the defensive end. He's been terrible on defense throughout his career, and in the limited minutes he's played this season. But tonight I thought he did a really good job on the defensive end.
Yeah. See, that's part of it where it's like how much of it, is a guy like Macklemore, and how much of it is Detroit sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he didn't make any mistakes, because that's the thing. Even a bad team can exploit obvious mistakes. So it's more just, to me, he didn't make mistakes, and he made a lot of mistakes defensively in the preseason, so it was definitely better.
Well, see, I would say it's just because we're playing Detroit, but he had at least 2 plays that stand out in my mind of just he was in the right spot and recovered well enough so where he got a deflection on a pass or a steal on a pass that if he would have been out of position or had a slow closeout or was falling asleep or whatever, he wouldn't have gotten those, and it would have led to an open shot. So credit to him for being alert tonight and making some plays up ball.
Yeah, he was definitely fresh in this game. So let's move on and talk about Yusuf Nurkic. We got $B signs. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to get paid this offseason, as he is a free agent. And hopefully it's by Portland, because I don't think it... obviously, you don't want to lose him for anything, but that's another conversation for another day. The conversation is his game tonight. We already talked a lot about him. We talked about him for about 15 minutes. So I guess, is there anything that you haven't touched upon that you would like to say about Nurkic? Because for me, we pretty much covered it all.
Yep, just like to see us run our whole offense through him. Just give him all the roles.
Agreed. Let's move on and talk about cunning clamps. Okay, Chris. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. I like the 5 assist number for the starting point guard. 36 minutes tonight. Didn't have a great shooting game like he did last game. I was hoping he was going to pop off tonight. He didn't quite do that, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a noticeably bad game from him.
Yeah, it was 4 for 8, I think, at halftime, and then 1 for 6 in the second half. So, like to see him. He was one of the few people that I thought didn't get a lot of good looks in this game, which is kind of weird considering almost everyone else did. But yeah, I think since he was starting tonight, Detroit definitely had a good game plan for him. Like I said, Cade was on him a lot. The length of Cade kind of bothered him. So instead of cunning clamps, I felt like Cunningham did the clamping in this one. But overall, I don't know. If you take the missed shots out of it, I don't think Ant played horrible at all. And he got put in a lot of bad positions tonight where he was getting posted up by Jeremy Grant or in a situation where he was trying to guard Cade one-on-one and Cade has the length to shoot over the top of him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily Ant's fault on defense, but yeah, I thought it was a solid game, even though he missed a lot of shots.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on and talk about Dennis Stretch Big Smith Jr. Krish's. This is maybe the most out there Krish has gotten because I don't understand this one at all, man. Is Krish even in chat to explain any of these? Krish, explain this one. Dennis Smith Jr., 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, played a good defensive game, had a steal and a block, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 4 for 11 from the field. I didn't like a couple of his shots. And 11 shots in 17 minutes is kind of crazy for Dennis Smith Jr. But overall, I mean, he had a couple nice plays for teammates and defended well, and that's really what we needed out of him.
Yeah, I like that one where he just like drove down and used some muscle to get a lay-in. He tried to do it again a few plays later and missed, but I like the aggression there. Um, Love the play to get him an open dunk. Wish we'd run that for Ant and Nas too. But yeah, just I thought he came in and played solid. As I illustrated on that one play, his defense tonight was superb. And yeah, good game from Dennis, I thought, despite some of the misses. I think some of those were, I mean, he had a couple of those threes he had to shoot. Oh, man, this reminds me too. You didn't hear this. It's one of these perspective things since you were at the game. Calabro, man. Calabro was brutally bad tonight. It was so bad. Yeah. I forgot all the stuff, but there was one play where I think it was at the end of the first quarter where Dennis Smith Jr. shot a three at the buzzer. And he said, "Oh, CJ getting that good of a shot, you can live with it. Like CJ will usually make those or whatever." And then he was, I forgot all the stuff he was doing, but yeah, he had like, there was like 6 times tonight where I was just like, really, man? Like, come on, dude. Like he was just calling out the wrong person or like saying, "Oh, so-and-so checks into the game when he's been in the game for like 5 minutes."
Which is weird because he hasn't been like that. He's, I don't know, the past couple games have been worse, but for the most part, he's been solid. So, off night for Kevin Calabro, apparently. Chris has the explanation for why he called him stretch big. He says he shoots like a washed stretch big, which I agree with. And he has some nice big man-esque plays. He had that like post up from the elbow with the little hook floater shot, which was, I don't know. I said, wow, when that happened. That was, LiAngelo Ball would have been proud of that one. But yeah, he shoots like a stretch, like a wash stretch big. He leans, dude. Have you noticed how he leans, Eric? I don't know why. He leans to the left, man. And when he's shooting free throws, it's just interesting to see these guys' free throws from like straight on, because normally we don't see it from that angle on TV, and you can kind of see maybe what's wrong with a couple of these guys for like Dennis Smith like leans and like kind of cocks his head back a little bit. I mean, he needed somebody to fix his shot earlier in his career, and maybe he wouldn't be a fringe rotation player right now if that was the case.
Yeah. I remember the other thing. He kept mixing up Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham the whole game. It was getting really.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, man.
I know they kind of have the same hair, but yeah, it's.
Just look at this slide, man.
Yeah.
Look at this slide.
Beef Snellington.
Tony Snell.
Tony Beef Snellington. All right.
9 points. 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 for 7 from the 3. He had that and 1 3. That was pretty cool. 2 for 5 from 3. That's 40%, right in line with his career average. And made a 2 for the second game in a row. Eric, I think it's a record for Mr. Tony Snell. Congratulations.
Maybe early in his career.
Probably. But, you know, let's celebrate, man. Good old Beef Snellington. 9 points, 4 rebounds was solid in spot minutes. Defensively was okay. I don't know. There was a couple times he kind of got cooked. Siddiq Bey got his only bucket on him. But I mean, there was a lot of other times where I thought he had some solid defensive possessions as well, and shot making was okay tonight by his standards. So overall, I mean, it was a Snell game, man.
I feel like with the kind of looks he's getting, where it's only a matter of time before we see one of those like 4 for 4 from 3 and could just kind of completely change the game with that 3-point shot. But other than that, you know, if he's shooting 40%, it's hard to complain. But yeah, I thought he was solid tonight. We needed him to be okay, and he was.
Yep, agreed. Robert Wood Covington. People want to trade him for Christian Wood, which is, I assume, where this comes from, because there's Christian Wood trade possibility news today, just with him being supposedly on the market. Krish, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's about something completely different. I suck at guessing your nicknames here. 8 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block. 3 for 10 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. Had a nice drive and finish. I mean, but overall, was very meh this game again.
Yeah, I liked his aggression early in this game, and then he kind of disappeared. But yeah.
I mean, yeah,
He had that nice drive and finish. Speaking of 2-point shots, he made 1 of 4, I guess. But I liked his one he made.
yeah. I mean, he's been trying to make more of an effort of putting the ball on the floor. So he started off with 5 quick points in this one and didn't really do anything the rest of the game. Forced a couple of threes, I thought, but 2 for 6 could be worse, and he's had worse games than 2 for 6 shooting. So defensively, he was solid and impactful when he was in there. That's all I ask for him. Don't make mistakes. Now, okay, he did reach a little bit too much.
Yeah,
that is one of my complaints. 3 fouls. He did reach a little bit too much. When he didn't reach, I thought he was good defensively. So for the most part, he didn't. For the most part, he didn't reach. For the most part, he was solid positionally. Didn't commit stupid fouls and whatnot. But got to clean those up because there's a lot of plays in which he reaches where he shouldn't be.
Yes. So the one you commented on it, like, so when he picked up his 3rd foul in the first half, Nance had just subbed out of the game after a really long stint. I thought that might have been a good time to put in Greg Brown at power forward just to give him a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, Covington had to play tonight, and yeah, he was okay. But
yep, Scarier Larry, because we called him Scary Larry in the last game, and he wasn't scary. He was a little scarier tonight. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 3 for 5 from the field. Honestly, man, it's hard to talk about role players in a game like this, in which we beat the Detroit Pistons. You already broke down one of his cuts, which was perfect to get 2 of his points. He had another good cut that got him another bucket in this game. So overall, he was just doing. He played solid defense, made the right cuts, didn't make any mistakes, didn't have a turnover. So it was just a solid. It was a solid but quiet Larry Nance Jr. game.
Yeah, and Jeremy Grant, on offense at least, plays a lot like Tobias Harris. So I thought the times he was on Jeremy Grant, he did a really good job of just all you want to do is just keep him in front of him, make sure he doesn't get an open shot and contest it when he pulls up. And I thought Nance stayed in front of him really well tonight in the times he had that opportunity.
Yep, I agreed with that. We got Cody Zeller, 4 points, 6 rebounds, and assists. 5 fouls. I mean, what do you have to say about Cody, man? I don't have anything to say about Cody Zeller.
I do have to give him credit. He is playing better on defense. It gotten really bad for a few games, or like a 10-game stretch, and his minutes were getting cut accordingly. But lately he has been picking up on that end. But yeah, he's gotta avoid those offensive fouls, man. Those against good teams, those can be killers. So he's got to set better screens without moving. But I thought he was
both our centers do.
Fairly solid tonight.
Yeah, Nurkic has great screens, so you'll take a moving screen here and there. But I feel like we have 3 or 4 moving screens a game, which gets frustrating. I agree with that. All right, so that is it for the player cards.
No Blevins.
No Blevins, man. I mean, we should have taken out all the stats and just wrote 1 turnover in big letters on the slide.
0, 0, 0, 0.
Chris absolutely could have done that if he wanted to.
Gosh.
Yeah. Every time Blevins touches the court, man, make a Blevins graphic. All right. Just highlight, right? Change the stats and highlight the legend himself, Keljin Blevins, and anything he does on the basketball court, good or bad, it's all good. So that is the player cards. Let's head around the NBA. It's very quick here. We only had 5 games today. The Memphis Grizzlies. Let me get the stats here. I'll read off a couple players' stats for these since we only have 5 games. And one of them was ours. We're not going to go too deep into it. But the Grizzlies are without Ja Morant. Do they have a timetable for when Ja Morant's going to be back?
I have not seen a timetable. I think he got the like reevaluated soon thing, but I don't remember what time it was.
Yeah,
What
but
the time frame it was.
I was curious. So without
I'll
John
take it.
Morant, they have Jaren Jackson Jr. step up for 25. Desmond Bain has 23. And then they get 17 from Dylan Brooks. So the other guys step up without their leader. The Grizzlies take care of business against the Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam, 20 points, 5 assists, 9 for 19 shooting. Scotty Barnes, 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists on 8 for 16 shooting. So their forwards are looking good. Nobody really played well outside of that, except Watanabe had 11 off the bench, so good for him. A battle of the Big Apple, Eric. We got Brooklyn and New York. And Brooklyn wins the battle 112-110. The Nets, coming off a disappointing loss against the Phoenix Suns in which James Harden was getting booed, have a bit of a bounce back game. James Harden has a bounce back game. In 40 minutes, he has 34 points and 10 boards. Durant had 27 points in 41 minutes, but only shot 9 for 23 from the field. So, if you're New York, you'll probably take that, but they still couldn't take care of business. Brooklyn isn't playing Blake Griffin anymore. He's now out of the rotation. He was a DNP coach's decision tonight. They played rookie Cam Thomas 21 minutes. He had 12 points on 5 for 9 shooting. So the rotation has been interesting to follow there in Brooklyn. Paul Millsap only plays 15 minutes. LaMarcus Aldridge got the start tonight. Only had 8 points in 32 minutes. So I wonder if Blake continues to not play. Do you think he becomes a buyout candidate, Eric?
I'd be surprised if they bought him out just because of their lack of front court depth. But I guess maybe if they need a roster spot for a different buyout guy, that could be a possibility.
I was just feeling like Blake Griffin is not going to be happy if he continues to not play there in Brooklyn. I know they're saying he's understanding of it now, but I don't think he's going to want to be rotten on the bench for the rest of this year. So New York has another former All-Star, well-known player, Kemba Walker, who's out of their rotation. He was a DNP tonight. They're starting Alec Burks at point guard. Alec Burks, 25 points, 5 assists on 9 for 21 shooting. What do you think of that decision?
Kemba's been absolutely awful this year, so I don't know what took so long. Their starting lineup had some of the worst ratings in the NBA. Their bench was actually pretty good when they come in, so yeah, should have made that decision a long time ago.
Yep, agree with that.
For Jaw, it just says reevaluated in a few weeks.
Okay.
So no firm timetable yet.
Hopefully he's back soon, man, because he was having a great season. This next game, instead of being a battle of New York, it was a battle between two California teams, and the Lakers took care of business against the Kings 117-92. The Lakers were struggling to start this game, but Anthony Davis has 25 points, 12 for 22 shooting. Russell Westbrook, 9 for 21, 23 points. Malik Monk, 22 off the bench. This game, they didn't have LeBron James, so maybe the Lakers are better without LeBron. Right? I mean, that's how it works.
I think that was proven when he missed like 11 games earlier in the season. That's not true. But
yeah, you're right. Rashawn Holmes, 12 for 13 shooting for the Kings, 27 points. That's a crazy stat line. But other than that, really nobody stepped up. De'Aaron Fox only shot 9 shots in 36 minutes.
And I think LeBron is out at least 10 days. So, yeah, tough break for the Lakers.
I'm looking at Davion Mitchell, 3 for 14 shooting, and Buddy Hield, 1 for 7 shooting, and it pisses me off because we should have beat the Kings in Sacramento. I would have loved to have held them to those shooting numbers, but I feel like Davion Mitchell is always going to be a Blazers killer. He's going to be one of those guys that always goes off against us. I mean,
we got beat by Marvin Bagley.
Oh, God. What did Bagley do today? Because everybody wanted to trade for Marvin Bagley after that game, and tonight Marvin Bagley didn't play. They were playing Louis King over him and Alex Leonard. Maybe he was injured, but that's the thing is Marvin Bagley's always injured. So
he was out, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been a theme throughout his career. Let's move on. Not going to talk about our game. This was the matchup maybe of the year so far, Eric. The 17-2 Golden State Warriors versus the 17. No, they were 18-2. You're right. 18-2 Golden State Warriors versus the 17-3 Phoenix Suns. Phoenix loses Devin Booker in the first half. He doesn't play the second half, but they still take care of business against the Golden State Warriors. it was funny because we did our power rankings on Monday, BlazersUprise.com. We post power rankings every Monday, and we tweet them out on our Twitter page at BlazersUpriseYT, so definitely go and follow, and you can turn on tweet notifications for our Twitter page so you know whenever we drop something, whether it's a video, a stream, or an article. I was the only one in our power rankings this week, Eric, to put Phoenix at number 1. Everybody else had them as number 2 behind Golden State. I put them at number 1 because I thought they were going to win this game. Just a gut
congratulations.
Feeling. So I will.
What's up, Gabe?
I will take my dub. Gabe shows up at the perfect time. Of course, Gabe shows up now, man. Of course, I hopped on Gabe's stream walking to my car after the game. That was fun. But congratulations to Gabe on his team taking care of business against the Warriors. You have 24 from DeAndre Ayton. He's trying to get that max payday on a 5-year contract. Chris Paul is 15. Devin Booker only played 15 minutes in this game. For the Warriors, Steph Curry, 4 for 21, Eric. He played worse than Dame today. And Dame didn't play.
I forgot what it was. Like, it was only the last few years or his entire career, but one of the worst games of his career, shooting over 20 shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, under 20% from the field. That's crazy. Jordan Poole had 28 points on 9 for 15 shooting, so he tried to carry Steph but couldn't. Great win for Phoenix. Congratulations once again to Gabe. He joined just in time to celebrate.
No, he says he's been in here.
Has he been in here? Yeah, he didn't say anything until we were on his game. I feel it. James Harden, bounce back game tonight. Rashawn Holmes, super efficient night. Julius Randle has a solid game, almost a triple dub. KD, 27 points, and Jordan Poole, as we just said, tried to carry Steph but couldn't. Let's look at the Western Conference standings, and there you go. Phoenix is number 1 now. They have supplanted Golden State as the number 1 team. Those two teams are in a tier by themselves, Eric. If you look at the 4th place team, Dallas, they're 10-9, right? The 10th place team is 10-10, and that's Denver. You have 7 teams within half a game right now. We are half a game where everything seems so tragic, right? After last night, we're 10-11. The sky is falling. People saying they're done with the team. All this type of stuff. But we have the second easiest schedule left in the NBA, and we're only a half game out of the 4 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yep.
You don't got any thoughts on that, huh?
Nope, no thoughts at all.
All right, let's move on to the Eastern Conference standings. Brooklyn number 1.
It's impossible.
Yeah, impossible. Admit you're wrong. We're not getting 4. No chance. We already lost the 4th seed, according to some people. Anyway, Brooklyn number 1, Chicago number 2. Washington is an interesting team. I still can't figure out how much of a fluke they are. Their start was fluky. They were the number 1 seed in the East for a while, but I don't know. I don't know if they're a playoff team yet. Cleveland has some players healthy. Still don't have Colin Sexton, but now they got Evan Mobley back, Jared Allen back. Lauri Markkanen's back. They've been able to win some games. They're sitting there at 11-10. 11 teams above 500 in the Eastern Conference right now. A lot of, how many Western Conference teams played today? This is the last. This looks exactly like the standings that we looked at last night. So really nothing else to say here. Let's look at our
Detroit, Toronto played today, and New York and Brooklyn played each other. So.
Yeah, so there you go. Quiet day today in terms of slate of games. Let's look at the next 5 games, and I just want to say, what in the world is that bottom picture, Chris? do you know what that bottom picture is, Eric?
Yeah, there was a group of people making jokes about how after last night's loss, they're now Timberwolves fans. And so since Chris loves Norman Powell, he photoshopped him into a Timberwolves jersey. And yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
since Chris did that, I'm also going to call out, it's at Golden State Warriors. Whole team named Chris. Come on. But go ahead.
No, you can finish your thought.
I'm just looking at the slate of games. You have San Antonio next, should be able to take care of business. Boston should be able to take care of business. The Clippers. This could easily be a 13-game home winning streak, because I think we'll be favored in all 3 of the next 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have deja vu here. We go back on the road to Golden State. And that's a nationally televised game, which the Blazers do play solid in nationally televised games. But I don't know, man. Like had a 4-game home winning streak. They went on the road and lost 3 in a row. Right now they're back for 4 in a row. They won the first one tonight. I could see them winning the next 3 to win 4 in a row at home again, and then go on the road. And that Golden State game looks really, really tough. That would be a huge win. I'm just looking at this like if we can take care of business at home, which we have been doing, and then somehow figure out a way to be even competitive in that Golden State game, and that'd be a win given how bad we've been on the road. And then you come home to Minnesota, who's been solid this year, but I mean, we're the better team if we're playing at home. This schedule, I like this next 5 slate of games.
Yep, not bad. Real quick, Aeromancer, my joke in chat went right over his head. When you were talking about the Warriors-Suns game, he said Western Conference Finals preview, and I said the Pistons playing the Eastern Conference. Because we played the Pistons tonight.
Yeah, the legendary Pistons.
And he said I was talking about Golden State and Phoenix. And obviously, obviously, really I know Aeromancer.
Eric, learn your geography, man. Detroit is.
Because Minnesota's in the Northwest Division.
Yeah, Detroit is actually kind of in the middle of the country, so I don't blame you for getting confused, Eric. But you look at things, after that road game, we do have 3 games off, or 3 days off. So no back-to-backs during this stretch, and a 3-day off stretch, which is, I think, our first of the season. That'll be nice, get some practice time in. It'll be interesting to see what this team is looking like at the end of this slate of games.
Oh, hey, so you asked me before we went on what game I'm going to. It's the Timberwolves game.
Oh, there you go.
I get to see Reese's favorite team.
Reese is jealous. Reese is very jealous.
Maybe Reese will be there too.
And then our game after that, on the 14th, is Phoenix. Phoenix. And that game's at home. So that'll be an interesting game because Phoenix obviously has had it rolling, but we've been a really good home team. We've had it rolling at home. I think that's going to be a really competitive game.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't go to it, I will be on Valley Podcast rubbing it in their faces. Deja vu from the first time we played them at home. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood, all that good stuff. So this is our schedule ahead. It's interesting, Eric, because 7 of our next 8 games are at home. After that Warriors game, we have another 4-game homestand.
Mm-hmm.
So we got an opportunity to go on a run here. Got to take advantage of the schedule. Anyway, that's around the NBA. Alrighty. Anything else that you got for this game, Eric?
Nope. Just fun to see them win a game, even though it was at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And good to see maybe our defensive rating move down. Our deep bench always tries to mess it up.
Yeah.
Give it up 30 in the fourth. But, overall, just thought this was a good effort, despite missing some players. And, not that you can read too much into beating the Pistons, but I just like some of the things we did on offense in particular.
Yep, I agree with that. This has been our 4th stream in 2 days, so I'm ready to take a day off tomorrow. But then Thursday we have 2 more streams. We'll have Blazers Uprise Live, Picks Against the Spread, all that good stuff. That will be on our second channel, link in the description. And then we'll have the post-game stream after the Spurs game. So hopefully that's another game that kind of goes like this, where we're able to enjoy it and blow them out and get some Kelvin Bledgens time and all that good stuff. And then we'll have another day off. So I'm honestly a little bit burnt out at the moment. 4 streams in 2 days. We, of course, streamed during the entire game yesterday. We had Blazers Uprise Live yesterday, and then we had the post-game show. I'm ready to kind of relax for a day before we get back to work on Thursday.
For sure.
For sure. All right.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It's been fun for a change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice to relax and enjoy.
Bottom line is we're 500. We said, be somewhere close to this at this point, and then just take off from here. So hopefully, with how tough our schedule's been, I don't want to hear people say when we're like 10 games above 500, oh, it's because they have a bunch of easy games. Well, no crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And where was that same energy when we had hard games? So I think we'll be fine. I still think we're in a good position. I still think most of our problems are being addressed and fixable throughout the season. And I still believe in Chauncey as our coach and Dame as our star. So, yeah,
Yeah.
go Blazers.
Go Blazers, man. The goal in my schedule breakdown at the end of the month of December is to be 20-16. That's a 50-win pace according to strength of schedule, which was predicted at the start of the season. So some teams are better, some teams are a little worse. So it's not perfect, of course. But I set the goal of 20-16. That would require us to go 9-5 this month. In terms of the quality of opponents, it's still a month in which we have hard opponents. Mm-hmm. We have Brooklyn this month. We have the Suns. We have the Warriors, of course. We have the Lakers to end the month, and LeBron should definitely be back by then. I'm probably missing a couple games. Let me see if I can bring up the whole entire schedule here. Just give me a second. Let's see. We got Hornets, solid team. Mavericks, Jazz as well. So it's not a cakewalk in terms of opponent quality. That comes later on. If you guys want to watch my schedule breakdown, just go back a couple months. I dropped a whole schedule breakdown with strength of schedule for specific months. It's basically home heavy for December. We face some quality opponents, but we've been much better at home, so I'm confident going into this month. And then it gets road heavy, but we have easy opponents. So if we can figure things out on the road, get things rolling, and take advantage of our easy opponents on the road after hopefully a successful month of December where we knock off some solid teams still because we're playing at home, then it's shaping up for a season in which I still think we can definitely push for 50 wins. So everybody that kind of gave up on the team already, I expect them back at some point this month, and we will welcome them back with open arms. For those of you who stick with us through thick and thin, we appreciate you the most. Don't tell the others. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up our stream. Eric, any final words, man? I always want to make sure you say everything you want to.
December 12th, Minnesota game, party in section 307 if you want to join.
Yeah, go find Eric. Go make him feel famous. Ask for pictures.
Zach Reese, expect you guys to be there.
Is Reese talking about going to that game?
He said he might have to cop tickets, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, then I might have to cop tickets, whatever that means. We'll see. We'll see. I don't plan on going into any game soon, although I do have tickets to the Clippers game on accident. I was trying to get into the stadium today. I got a great deal on these tickets for my cousin, right? And I go to scan the tickets, and it says ticket not found. And the lady at the door is like, "Are you sure that's for the right game?" And I look at it, and it's December 6th for the Clippers. My cousin sent me the wrong day, and I didn't notice until I was trying to get into the stadium at about like 7 p.m. too. Luckily, I was able to call him up and like get him to transfer the tickets immediately. Still caught tip-off. It was just like, man, how do you send me the wrong tickets? DJ Vega, I don't know what you mean by Tori's that old. I'm joking. I know what cop means. I just pretend to be a boomer sometimes, all right? I like to make Eric feel young.
I'm the old one.
Yeah, I like to... Eric, using slang, I like to pretend that I don't know it. Because it's funny. I'm 74 and Eric's 20. So, anyway, this has been a fun stream. Enjoyable. We will catch you guys again on Thursday. Until then, have a good rest of your night and have a good Wednesday. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.